What's up, Sherry? Can you hear us? Hold on. I gotta make sure this is. Hold on.
I
Select
can hear you.
speaker.
Can you hear
Nope.
me?
Yep, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Can you hear Corey?
Mic check.
Yep. Hear both of you.
Awesome.
Nice.
Now who
I
sounds
just,
better?
I just left my meeting with the guy with the laundromat.
I am so stoked to hear about
Nice.
that. Like, we'll definitely we're gonna throw you on because I want to hear all about it, but not quite yet. Let's wait till everyone gets on. So don't tell me
Yeah.
don't tell me anything. I want to act surprised. It's Christmas time, right? We got to act surprised at everything. Where are you at? What are you eating, Sherry?
One second. I'm at Caribou. Got the turkey provolone
Ooh.
sandwich.
I don't think I've ever been to Caribou. I've seen them though.
Friggin' Minnesota, that's where they started. This is the best
Oh, wow.
caribou in the Twin Cities. I know all of them.
Sweet. Let's see if anyone else is coming on. We'll give them a couple more minutes. How are you doing, Sherry? How's everything going? Vlad's, I about sent you a couple copies, but I was like, I'm gonna wait till it's all done. Vlad's been working on the video and it looks amazing.
Okay,
So,
good.
so
I'm glad he could do
we're gonna
something with
cut
that
two
mess.
of them.
Okay.
No, it was great. We're gonna cut it into two. It's 15 minutes long right now. So we're doing two. One, we're going to do it where it's mostly him talking about the business, the things that they're going to get. The second one is really going to be kind of more of how to build a successful luxury rental car business. And so we're going to take the, hey, he's trying to sell it out, those kind of questions, opposed to being like, how did you do this? So that when we're marketed on YouTube and we do anything like that or anywhere, it's really for people to kind of a how-to guide to start one. And so with us, will give us hopefully leads. And that's kind of where that's going. So you did a really good job at it.
Sure. Well, good. Well, thanks. So it was an interesting morning. Two things. One, we'll talk about it where the guy won't sign the exclusive agreement, but I've got a buyer who is very, very interested. And she's like, can I get the NDA signed so that I can get the information? But I had a similar conversation today with a boutique. She's had it for sale for over a year with a broker. He did nothing with it, and he's actually still got it listed. I found the listing out there, even though he's not under contract with her anymore, but she won't sign an exclusive agreement. And she's like, well, he'll only charge me 10% and you want 15. And then that'll make it too expensive in the market if you add that, blah, blah, blah. So, these conversations, I've heard that before about locally people charging 10% with these other brokerages. So people that are maybe more aware know of that versus others who aren't. So that's one objection I'm getting, but also this exclusive agreement thing. And it's like I don't want to spend a ton of time trying to find a buyer for a company if they're just also putting all these other feelers out there, because then I've wasted my time and money, And I tried to get that across to her, but it is what it is if she wants. So I'd be interesting in the mastermind to kind of talk about those kind of situations.
Yeah, definitely do. Let's I'm just gonna check Facebook real quick, make sure anyone from the group's trying to get in. Again, though, this is gonna be recorded, and really the goal of this is let me see. The goal is for you guys to be able to really start diving into getting more business. That's all it's about, right? We want to get more business. And what we found is that we've had so many conversations, and there's just so many conversations that we've had. And so to learn as a collective is way better than to learn like when we're going one off, because we've had conversations, and I know Corey has, where he's like, man, this should be helpful for everybody. Why can't everybody do this? So in this session and this mastermind, truly what we're going to do is we're going to go over our topics. Mine's going to be kind of more on marketing. Corey's is going to be on kind of the sales side of it, of what he's seeing as far as to help you guys sell these business, helped you to talk to these owners to be able to either lower the price, whatever we have to do with that, or to get them to sign in what you're talking about, an exclusive agreement. He's going to touch on those. So we're going to kind of go into that. And then what we're going to do is we will have a deal section at the end where that's when we're saying, hey, bring us your deals. This is the time that we want you to bring the deal and say, here's the issue I'm having, because I want everyone to be able to learn off of each one of us, and then we can grow. And so I know that this is the best ways to do it, because I have been a part of so many masterminds that's how I grew. Truly, it was. And so I'm excited. I'm excited for us to start. I know that my mom was supposed to get on here, but I don't see it on here. So let's see here. So we'll kind of just get going here, and I'm gonna text her real quick, because I don't want to waste time on this. Let me see here. Are you?
People who don't jump in are missing out. They gotta get on these masterminds or stuff.
Yeah, they're gonna. I mean, it'll grow. It's the first one. It's holiday season. We're gonna start doing some marketing to try to get some more brokers, obviously. But we want I think the biggest thing that we found was we want to be able to support you guys, and we can't do it with it just us. Like, to do individuals, we can't. It's impossible for us to do. But we can do it in this scale. So I think the big things that I think we want to talk about in this thing is going to be. We have a lot of listings. We have a ton of listings right now. And so Corey, I just want to ask him, because we were trying to talking about what we're going to talk about. And it's kind of one of those things, is that we have so many listings. We want to get these sold. So like, Corey, what are you seeing as far as in the market right now, though, as far as just timing wise, as far as some of these listings that we have on market, because they've been on market for a little bit. So I want you just to kind of maybe touch on the kind of the market, where we're at, where you kind of maybe see it going.
Yeah. No, it's a good question. It's really interesting with the holidays right now, because you've got on the buyer's side, they're really trying to get something done, but on the seller's side, they're really trying to not get something done. Believe it or not,
Why is that?
It all comes down to taxes. It always does, right? Yeah. It's one of those things to where, we literally had a meeting just a few days ago, and they're like, look, we want you to list it, but don't sell our business until January.
So what's the taxes like? What do you mean? Like, so what happens if they sell it before January?
Yeah. So, it depends on each state, right? But right now, the going tax rate here in Texas is 30%. So if they sell this business for, essentially $500,000.
Got it.
And really, I want to take a second to add that up for you guys too, is if it's $500,000, 30% is automatically gone to the government. 15% is gone to us, essentially, right? So 45% allows immediately off the top, not counting closing fees, right?
And there's going to be probably deductions as far as talking to the CPA that they can kind of leverage that 33%.
Yeah.
Or can they do 1031 exchanges with business, like selling of businesses? Is that
no? It's
really,
it's not that. Now, if there's an asset, yes, but if it's a business, no. So a lot of them want to have a longer runway, essentially, so they can sell the business and get more write-offs that year. Because if they could sell it and then buy something else, which is fantastic for as a broker, right? That's the whole goal, is for them to get into a new chapter.
Yeah.
You have time and money. With November, what you'll do as a broker is, if you sell a business in November, December, get ready and hold on to your belts, because you have to find a business by the end of the year. So, which now, I don't know if you'll learn from a business brokerage world, not many people work that quick in this field. So it's extremely tough to do. To get that business bought.
Okay, so but that's a great kind of sales tactic that we tell you guys, is that, hey, if you know this information, like the follow-up on this is, especially coming in January and they start to close this business, like, what is your plan you're going to do with all this money? Like, what are you going to do? Are you looking for another business? Because that's the goal, is maybe you can prep that during the transaction process of, okay, great, you're going to sell this business eventually. What are you going to do? Because then we can say, hey, we can start really hunting for businesses for you right now.
Exactly.
And we can start doing that. So you're also being, you're not just being, hey, I'm going to sell this business for you. I'm going to plan what we're doing with this, and it can be, the cool part is be like, hey, I want to move to Florida. Like, screw California, I want to move to Florida and I'm going to own a business there. Great. We have people out there that can find stuff for you. What are you looking for? And you can maybe start that, which is going to get them attached to you even more. that you're like working for them, not
Yeah.
just like, hey, I'm gonna
Yeah.
sell this business and see you later. You know, I got my money. Like, no, we really want to care about the next thing that they're doing, next phase of their life. You know, so I think that's a great point.
You know, one other thing too, and I'm always good for a cheesy sales acronym, right? It's is whenever you go in to have these conversations with these potential sellers, right? And buyers, you can use it on both.
Right.
Many people have had the GROW method, which is very basic, but it works. And what it stands for is, you know, essentially what is your goals with this whole transaction? Then this is where it gets exciting, right? Oh gosh, I want to sell my business or buy a business and retire, you know, or do owner absentee. Like this is the exciting part. And then you hit them with the kind of a jab with the reality. So what's the reality of your current situation? Do we have the funds? What are you going to do with the funds? You know, what are we at realistically with this whole situation? Because if you're wanting to buy a business by the end of the year, let's really kind of reset expectations on the reality part of it. The O stands for options.
Yeah.
So what are the options that we have? Owner financing. Are you going to essentially, you know, maybe not consider the fact that you want to sell it by the end of the year? Or maybe you want to buy another business with this, or maybe switch industries from, you know, maybe owning a hotel to now you want to own apartments. What are the options that we have? Because I want to be part of your journey and understand that. And finally, the W is what's next. So this is the parts where you get to end with the fun with the conversation with our clients is what are you going to do next with all of this? What's our goal together? And say the word "our" all the time, our award. So that way it's really a true partnership. And that's, again, really my personal reason of being in the brokerage business. So I always like it. It's cheesy, but it helps me remember and keep these conversations aligned. And it works personally. So I don't know, Trav, so I always like to ask too, you know, for you, what are you seeing out there when you're working with all these business brokers, all these listings? There are some brokers that are getting listings quick, and there are some business brokers that are taking a little bit, you know, a little bit longer to come on board, and there's some that sell quick. What are some of the key differences that you're seeing?
It's a great question, man. I think as far as the thing that I've seen, not just I'd say in business brokering, but all of my career, coaching, I ran wellness centers and did weight loss transformations. And I've had people lose over 400 pounds, 300 pounds, 200 was like a walk in a park. And the thing that I would say that sets everyone apart and it's very simple. It's like successful and not successful. Like the person that's striving to be like, how do I get there? The number one thing that they do is track better. The successful people track.
What do you mean by track?
So tracking is it's on a day-to-day, it's on a quarterly, it's on a biannually, and it's on a yearly. Like we're always tracking. Like it goes down to the micro to the macro, right? So a micro level would be, okay, I want to do an ad. Okay, I want to do an ad. So it's like, great, I'm going to put an ad out. And you're like, great, this is how many leads I got. That is not tracking. That is watching what you did and the production you got from that. Tracking is, I have two of these. I have two, an A, B, and a test. Which one did better?
Okay.
And then you move and you say, great, now I am taking the one that did the most. And then I'm going, okay, A and B, which one did better? And you're always tracking to see, you're testing. And that's all tracking is, right? So as far as on the sales side, it is calls. Like, how many calls are you making a day? And if you're like, oh, I don't know how many calls I'm making. Well, that's not good tracking then. You have no idea. And who are you calling, right? Like, so if you got a bunch of listings from, so if you had a bunch of listings from BizBuySell or BizQuest or Facebook Marketplace, and you go, cool, well, how'd you get those? You know what I mean? Like, well, I called them. Okay, great. And then you're like, oh yeah, but I called also BizBuySell. And you're like, okay, how many listings did you get? I didn't get any. Where should your focus be?
Right.
Your focus should be on the thing that's going to be like, this is number one. Now, I'm not saying you don't call those places. What I'm saying, you create a hierarchy of knowing results, right? So it's like, all right, well, I really got to get on, BizQuest. I really got to get on this platform. I really have to go and we can talk about drop letters. We're talking about texting, we're talking about, Craigslist, whatever it is. We are always tracking things. And so it's tracking, here's the basic ones. What can I control? What's the one thing you can control?
That's a tough question on a Friday afternoon.
The one thing you can control is your output.
Right. Yes.
And so you can't control who picks up,
Right.
but you can control the outbound of it, right? You can control the calls.
Right.
And so you can control how many calls you're making. Now, depending on if you're calling on Christmas, you may not get anybody that's going to pick up, right? There's no control. If you're calling on a Monday, and then you can test the times. I'm calling at 8 a.m. No one's picking up. Okay, well, you know what? Why don't I next week do it at noon? And I do it all, and I'm able to test and track. So it's like you can get to the micro level. So the macro is how many calls, how many contacts, right? How many appointments am I making? Like, how many conversations am I having? And then what is the end result of that? Like how many listings I get? Because honestly, at the end of the day, if you say I make 100 calls, if you did enough tracking, you could say, I know and we used to do this with real estate, we call it expireds, right? I knew if I called 100 people, I would probably get a maybe 20% answer rate, but I would get one appointment. Hold on, Deborah's jumping in here. Cool. All right, so I would get one appointment for 100 calls I make. So and then if I go, okay, cool, for every appointment I made, I close at least 50% of them. So how many calls do I have to make before I get a listing? 200.
Right.
That's it.
I see.
That's it. So as we're doing that, like you have to be able to always be focusing on, let's make sure that we have some.
I think that everybody's video is off right now, so it's on.
Oh,
showing
cool.
different on the screen. Yeah.
All right, cool.
So
wait, is everybody any questions? Oh my gosh, these people need to know. Okay. It's great. All right. So as far as tracking, I would say the most important things are being able to have a sheet. So my question is, and I want you guys to put this in the comments right now. If you guys can, if you're listening, put this in the comments. Where are you tracking? What are you using to track all of these metrics? All the North Stars is what we call them. What are the things? Are you guys using something to track? Put it in the comments right now. What are you using to track? What are you using? A Google Sheet? Are you using a pen and paper right here like this? What are you using? Because if you're not, the answer is if you say I'm not tracking, well, we know the problem then. That's an easy fix. And so as part of this also, I want you guys to know that we have that available for you. So if you guys need a tracker, yeah. So listen, if you guys need something, we've put this thing together, this Legacy Broker Academy. And the goal is to give you guys every resource that you can to succeed, because we've done it. We've seen it. There's no recreating the wheel. The wheels have been created. We don't need to do that. All we need to do is be able to give you a way to do it. So, so I have that. If you guys want that, just put in the chat, like, hey, send me the tracker. What it is, it's a Google Sheet. It's automatically just things for you to set up. It's for the whole year. And it's basically a way for you to go every month. Day one, here's what I did. Day two, it breaks it all down so that this isn't the issue. And then we get to the issue of ownership, right? You have to own that, good or bad. So if you don't track and then you come to me, you go, Travis, I don't know why I don't have that many listings. Well, I'm going to say, oh, you've been tracking it? And they're going to go, no, I have no idea. And I was like, all right, that's the reason. Yeah. Now, if you say, Travis, I've been tracking everything, and here's why here's all my numbers, then we can say, okay, cool. It's not a numbers or an effort. It's a sales techniques. What are we doing? Now we can dive into the rabbit hole. But if you don't have that, the answer is go back to your tracking, because I don't know. I have no idea what you're doing.
You know, it's interesting you say that, because and I've noticed that too, amongst my own productivity.
Right.
Not only just tracking, but sometimes you track the wrong things.
Ooh, yeah.
And so I'm just curious, I could go to the gym all day long.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm not tracking my strength, strength, if you will, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
I think the most important thing that you can track is the thing that is actually, like, listen, you can track everything on a micro level, but the macro is always going to eventually make macros. And what I mean by that is, if you track how many times you go to the gym. So if you go, okay, listen, I'm going to the gym, start there. Now, if you go, how many times are you going to go to the gym? I'm going to the gym 5 days a week. Great. And then we look at it 6 months and I go, Corey, you were only going 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Because I know eventually if you are consistent with just going to the gym, you're going to eat healthier. You're going to, because there's going to be those days where it's like, you're not going to eat healthy because you didn't go to the gym. But the day that you're like, dang, I'm not eating that crap today. I worked my tail off.
Yeah.
Right. And it's the same thing, I think, with brokering or any sales. It's all focuses on the calls. That's it. It's calls. Can I be consistent at my calls? And if I can be consistent in my calls, my whether it's like you want to do, hey, calls, text, or, we call them drops, drop in or drop off, one of the twos, right? You had those three things. And then you can say, okay, cool. I'm consistent with those, but no one's responding. I'm not getting any listings from texting. Well, maybe you should call them then. I'm not getting any listings from dropping in. Maybe you should just drop off then, because you can do more.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's one of those things, the three things that you can control are calls, text, and drops. That's all you can do.
100%.
And everything else will fall with consistently doing that. Now, if you go, hey, listen, it's been 2 weeks and I haven't got anything, well, then do it longer. That's not long enough for me to say we can't reassess it after 2 weeks, which is what happens a lot of times. People will do it and then they'll just give up.
Victim right here. I hate to break out in front of everybody, but yeah.
Ryan's in.
Ryan.
All right, we're growing.
Yeah.
Cool, but let me ask you a question, because here's the one thing that, like, it's a weird season now with those listings and whatnot. But the one thing that, and we found this out also this week, right? As because constantly we're diving in and trying to figure out, okay, how can we sell these listings? How can we do this? So what is like something that can really help as far as when you're talking to your business owners, when you're getting the documentation, when you're putting it online, and what are some things that are going to help your business be more searchable, maybe on like BizBuySell or anywhere, even on the internet, right? Because like if you search for something like it, because all of those are SEO driven too, right? So if you type in something in Google and the SEO from BizBuySell or anything like that, like if you're looking for an EBITDA or you're looking for like gross revenue, like what are some things that are super important that you're finding as far as to get it found,
Yeah. No, it's a great question. And I'm glad you asked it, because we're seeing a lot of it right now with some brokers that are calling us and on my side and saying, hey, I'm not getting it over the goal line, if you will, from these buyers to make offers.
Right.
So what do I got to do? And actually, it's a two-part answer. And the first part, I'll go back to what we were just talking about with tracking our task and making sure we're staying oriented to what we need to do, right? But when we are making the 100 calls a day, it's not necessarily meaning pick up the phone and just cold call people. Like I would stress that, you have the conversations with people to say, tell me, what are your goals? If you're at a coffee shop with a friend, right? And you're like, what are your goals?
Right.
This starts as a call. Like this is one of your 100 calls, right?
100%.
Because this conversation can lead to a million different places. Look, honestly, I'm bills are tight. I'm looking to get a little bit more financial freedom. I'm looking to maybe quit my job, and I'm looking to get out of, the corporate grind, if you will, or, hey, real estate is extremely slow right now. These are all things and cues to go. These are all counted calls. Or tell me more about this, because I can assure you that if you can help solve that person's problem and look into the business world, they will tell other people to start calling you.
100%.
That's exactly what happened. I'll literally tell you what I got a call from a guy who randomly was at my son's jiu-jitsu class. And I talked to him about business brokerage and kind of what we're doing in the firm and, owning Dickies, different things, and why I'm doing it personally, not necessarily more about the business, but why I want to do it. And a week later, I don't get a call from him. I get a call from his friend that says, I've really, really wanted to get into buying some sort of manufacturing company because I've worked in a corporation for 20 years. It's time I build my own pathway. Because I literally just got an easy buyer that has the money to finance. When their 401k, they had over $1.5 million in their 401k, and they wanted to give me specifically $500,000 to go buy one of these manufacturing companies.
Yeah.
So that goes back to point one. Let's cap it off. Every call and every conversation counts as a call, and it gets turned into something, right? And if you track that, make sure you give yourself credit on that. Two, once you get that listing, or once you're talking to that business owner, it's important to remember that same conversation you had at the very beginning. What excited that person to buy a business? And does your listing say that? And I've checked all of our listings currently today, and I can tell you guys, I would give us honestly, just very vulnerably, a C minus, maybe a D plus, right? Trav knows me. I will tell you exactly how it is, right? And the reason is because we're not putting ourselves in the shoes of a buyer.
Yeah, right.
So I would guess probably out of all the listings, 80% of them don't tell us what I'm going to profitably make. And then you got to remember, a lot of new business owners don't know what EBITDA is. They don't know what gross earnings versus net earnings versus any of these scary words, right? If you
So what do they know? What do you think? Like, what's the words that
I want to know what it's going to take for me to buy this business, how much money I have to have, and how much money am I going to make? Those are the two most important things.
Probably seller financing, having those conversations with your owner and asking, hey, are you willing to seller finance this? Because this is going to help it sell faster.
Yeah, exactly. Let's take there's a couple different routes. Even just saying, hey, look, this qualifies for a loan, SBA loan, private loan, it doesn't really matter. This is what you'll probably need down. So if it's a $100,000 food mobile business or a $200,000 construction company, that's going to be 10 to 15 to 20% down, depending on how you finance it. Say that number. Hey guys, for $200,000 for this business, for $20,000 down, you're in the game. And with that $20,000, you're going to make cash flow of $3,000 a month, right? Those are the first two things. Okay, well then that means I'm going to get my money back in X amount of time.
Yeah.
And I know that I personally make in the corporate world $7,000 a month.
You're like, yeah.
Right. So what I need maybe to buy a little bit bigger business if I want to substitute that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then they can put it into, I think, simple numbers, which is, oh, in 7 months, I'm getting that $20,000 back.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I can rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat. I don't even necessarily need to get the money back. I may want to replace my income, and I want to stop being, and I heard this the other day at kids, by the way, kids activities are the best way to find potential business buyers or sellers.
Well, then you should have a time.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Exactly. You're at a lot.
But I was at gymnastics and it was a teacher. Like, hey, look, I would love to be able to do something in the summer. And I had another teacher said, I'd love to just honestly stop teaching and do this something full time. Well, the next question is, well, what needs to happen? We need to financially replace my income. Well, to do that, you need to buy a business that will support that.
Right.
Right. So that's what has to happen in our listings is we need to tell that story and build their future for them within it. Nobody past the looks of the business. That's probably the second most important. Does it look good? Does it actually look like a business? So things like coffee shops are fantastic. If you own this coffee shop, look how great it looks. It's only going to take $30,000 down to buy this. You could get that from your 401k. You can get that from a friend. Literally say exactly what to do in that business listing. Then come and be able to buy the business that way. So that's what I would recommend all of you guys do is really go back and look at that. And you can obviously email our support channel and we'll get it changed for you ASAP. But get to where you could tell the stories. So when you sit down with that potential buyer, they're already in their mind, especially like in real estate. I'm already putting my furniture in the room. If you've already crossed the hurdles of how money works, you will get a lot of potential buyers that'll come in with current offers. Well, I want to offer exactly what this says on this business listing. That happened just the other day. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, especially with the listings too, as we're putting them up there, we have obviously fields of, you can look like biz by sell and you'd be like, okay, here's all these fields that we have, whether it is. So your recommendation is to fill it. And the thing is, fill as much out as you possibly can. Because I know that when I go and search for businesses and I'm looking to say, hey, I want an owner absentee business that I'm looking for. If you don't have that in there, or the opposite way, or gross revenue. Like I also look for like, hey, I don't want something that's going to gross revenue $20,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm gonna say $100,000 or more. So if you don't have anything in there, it's not populating at all because it's just a data tool.
Yep.
So the fields that you have in there, and I know like in Deal Studio, we have, when you go in there, fill as much out as you possibly can.
Yep.
And if you're like, oh, I don't know that one, then go ask.
Yeah.
Try to figure it out because that's going to make you actually be seen and be findable when you're on there. Because if not, it's not someone going, oh, it looks like this person. Oh, they would like this listing, even though I know it doesn't have that data. It does not.
Yeah.
It's just searching for whatever they ask for. So make sure you have whatever they could possibly search for, everything put in there.
Exactly.
And, you know, if you don't know, go find it.
Exactly. And it's really crucial because it's, even if it's not owner absentee, you want to put do not run this owner absentee, because there are a lot of people that don't want to buy a business that's absentee.
Yeah.
They want to be in the business, right? Especially if they're a plumber and they're wanting to branch out from being an employee to being their own business owner, right? So for you, it's extremely important to just tell that story. And if you tell the story, it gets me excited. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Owning the Dickey's barbecue, for example, if you say store has 15 employees, all have been there X amount of time, which means you don't have to train and come in. You could come in and learn slowly. Oh, wow. Okay. Less aggressive than turning the switch on and owning a barbecue restaurant overnight, right?
Oh yeah.
This thing that you can take a minimum of 6 months to a year to get yourself acclimated to what it is in owning a restaurant, because this staff is in place. Again, not many people will say that on a business listing, and that's why their businesses don't sell. But here, be very truthful, honest, and vulnerable to the situation. I know, Sherry, for example, you've got a couple dot numbers, right? Tell what it means to own a dot number and what it means to get into it for those that are outside the industry. This will help them say, you know what, if I do this, I could do this type of thing, right? So for me, it's if we could get in there, guys, and reimage our listings,
We're telling a story.
we're telling a story.
Like, and so the story has to have a good conclusion for that buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're just, you know, trailing off into the sunset, you have no idea what happens. Like, no one wants to watch a movie. They're like, what's the next one? What happens?
Yeah.
We want them to be able to envision in their head, like you said, just with real estate.
Yeah.
This is where my couch is going to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is how this is going to work. And so I think that's awesome points, man.
Yeah, for sure. All right. We got a question here. Do you have some examples, listings we can look at for painting the story for the buyer? Yeah, for sure. We can actually look at we're getting close to that part of the show.
Yeah.
We could say show. Look at that. I said it's a show.
It is.
I'm already documenting it as a show.
It's kind of a show. I mean, it's mastermind, because I mean, we're going to help you guys, but like, we are going to get to the point where we are looking at we're going to talk about your guys' deals or just questions you have. It doesn't have to be about your deal. So if you don't have any deals, I know we have a couple people on here that have some things they're working on. So, so I mean, so
we'll get there, Sherry. We'll pull some up. We could even pull yours up if we want to, and really take a look at it and dive into it. But yeah, it's a, perfect. Awesome. If you don't mind, we'll get into yours. So, yeah, you know, it's, yeah.
I'm just, Sherry's, by the way, guys, I will tell you, Sherry has like 8 listings. Yeah. She's been doing this like 2 months, and she is a killer out there, and she's still figuring it out. She is just still figuring it out. And I think she's a stud. Mm-hmm. She is a stud. And like,
no, I know a lot of these guys that are on here. I mean, gosh, it's so fun when you get that first listing. Yeah. And then it's even better, guys, when you get that first transaction sell.
Oh my gosh.
And you're like, okay, it's not even the fact of I got a nice little check. That's always great, right? But it's like, that was easy. You know, and it's as easy as selling a house. You know, I would even almost say sometimes easier.
I would say I was having that conversation with Deb yesterday, and I was like, you know, the hardest part there's so many steps to buying a business, or buying a house, right? Yep. There's so many things, right? With the business, I mean, we're finding the buyer, and then at that point, we're kind of just playing middleman, and we're paper pushers, essentially, you know, and giving it to the lawyers and let them do. Our stuff is all on the front end.
Yeah,
it's all on the front end doing that, and so. You want to dive into Q&A?
Let's do some Q&A. We'll start off with Sherry's.
All right.
If you know, I'll give you a second to pull it up. I have JJ calling me here on the phone. He should be on this call here, so I'm gonna have to text him back live and say,
you know,
where are you at, man?
I'm going to pull this up. Hold on 1 second here. Get this. I just want to start a new screen here so you guys don't have to see all the 1,000 tabs.
Sure, I gotta ask, how was driving that Maserati?
Oh man.
You know, I didn't actually drive it. I said, because I was afraid to drive it. I didn't want to wreck it, even though we were on a residential street. I just said, hey, can I just sit in it and can you take a picture? And so since he didn't offer for me to drive around the block or anything, I thought, well, if I can just take it, sit in it. He had another one. I don't know if that one did it too, but another one that's an SUV. And he unlocked it and it started like wiggling, not wiggling, but it moving. I'm like, what the heck? And it balances itself. So whether you're using it more like a streetcar or the SUV and like, oh, that's just wild. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty. I like the color too.
It's pretty blue color.
All right, are you on the screen? We can see the screen.
Can you guys see the screen?
We can see Travis.
Biz by Sell. Can you see that?
We see
I
signing
see
with
choose an
Google.
account on my screen.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we don't want to choose an account. Oh, it's because I'm logging in. Hold on. I'm just going to cancel out of this here. I don't need to do that. Stop share. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen. What do we got here?
I see nothing.
I see nothing. There we go. See now?
Oh, see.
All right.
Yep,
Now
I
we
can
can
see
see.
it.
You see my listing? Is that what you see?
Yep, I see it.
Oh, you're not seeing this.
Double. Oh, hold on, I got to do this right here. Grab a screen. There we go.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You're seeing it. All right, so let's do this. I think the first test would be how easily is it to find a business? One of yours, Sherry. So, Sherry, I don't want to know the name of it. What I want to know is
Area.
we'll start with area. Minnesota, right?
Minnesota. Let's see if you can find my coffee shop. Do Minneapolis
County.
or Hennepin County?
Give me the county.
Hennepin, Hennepin. There you go.
All right, let's
See if you can find the coffee shop.
It's going to be a great way for us to see if your business is being okay.
So 85 businesses.
And I would suggest you guys do this with all of your businesses. Try to search for it after you get done, because then you're going to have an idea of maybe how I should be able to. So I'm scrolling, Hennepin County, 85 businesses, close mentor.
Right there.
Right there is the
Proven coffee shop.
Okay, so let's stop there for a second, if you don't mind.
You tell me where to go.
So it says buy a complete coffee juice in, I don't even know how to say that word. Acai bowl bar in a box. We'll give you a complete ... Okay, so if we were to put yourself in, I'm gonna make you the potential buyer. We're pretending we're literally looking at businesses together. Tell me what you initially think about that sentence right there. Do you say maybe you are into a coffee bar? Does that give you enough?
I think the first thing we want to notice when you're seeing these listings too is let's notice that where it cuts off. So we got like,
Excuse me, Sherry, can you mute yourself? Sherry,
we
can you mute
have,
yourself?
so we have, what's that?
Admit JJ here real quick.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Okay, now
you have about 40 words, 40 characters, I would say, roughly, that are populating. Okay. So let's just understand that the first 40 things that you say is the only thing. So if you're leaving that like call to action for the back end, well, they got to click on it to see it. Does that make sense? You see the ... So we want to do this. So for your question, I would say profitable and established.
One up.
What's that?
The buy a complete coffee.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you go.
Buy a complete coffee. So we're not, I think what we want to focus on, it would probably be more money, right?
Well, $50,000 means, do you see how the ones below it have cash flow and this one has just $50,000? So immediately my thought is, I'm confused. Is this, and again, if I'm a new buyer, I've never owned a coffee shop, but I love coffee, I would be like, what does this mean? And is there a franchise? Is it a franchise, but there's no franchise fee? And then proven coffee concept in your city would be another one that would be, I'd be, okay, it's proven, but it's only 50 grand. What's going on? So the changes that I would suggest here is if it's cash flowing, if it's not profitable, then put gross revenue on there. So $50,000 per sale, gross revenue, 200K a year. And
Yeah,
then the
this is
second
just
thing
for
I
a
would do is,
license. It's for a license, so
it's
there
for a
is no,
license. Okay.
yeah. So I
It's
need to
just to
make
get
that
a
clear in
coffee
the,
shop. Yeah, there you go. See, even better. So start your own coffee shop with the $50,000 franchise fee.
Now, let me ask you this, like, could they put on their cash flow what they're currently doing on their cash flow?
Yeah, potential would be
Potential. So if we say that when, you know, and we're thinking about this, you're not saying that this is going to be your cash flow, but you can say, this is what we're seeing on cash flow, because what you would say is like, if we're looking at here or more filters, right? Are we being able to, oops, if we don't have anything and they just have minimum or max, do we want to put stuff in there to say, hey, listen, this is what we're seeing on our cash flow? Not saying you're going to do that, because the goal isn't the goal is to get people interested.
Mhm.
And
yeah,
then
and I hear what you're
as
saying. This guy doesn't
as
Yep.
own
brokers.
that coffee shop anymore. So like those numbers, it's like, it's not his business. So it's tricky. I totally get what you're saying, but like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not his
Well,
business.
it's like we have a marketing company right now that we're focused on selling, and it's been kind of, I would call it stagnant for the past year, 2 years, because the owners are retiring. But you want to show potential, and so we basically everything that's inside that concept on the Biz Buy Sell listing is what it could be based off of other franchises. So
So
that's what I would
I
suggest
could use
is to
old
book.
numbers, maybe use old numbers from when he
Yeah,
owned it.
absolutely. Yeah.
100%.
As long as you disclose that these are estimated based off of prior sales. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
great idea.
Yep. I think, and that's the biggest thing, is as we're looking, like one of the biggest things, you look at these, what are our keywords, right? Keywords are a huge thing, right? Keywords, gross revenue, cash flow, which is big things. And this is what people are really, they love the cash flow, right? Because then they can look for it. So any of these things, any of these important years established,
More years, the better.
yeah, if you can have all of this stuff in here, like usually look and be like, I at least need to have all of this some way or another. And you can say, you know, it's like you said, with cash flow, you can say, this is the potential cash flow based upon X, Y, and Z. That's not the actual. And so I would say the more things. And so you can think about this, like, let's see, do we have must allow absentee owner? Think about like all these things, hide new franchise opportunities, include relocatable listings. Like, look at all the, just take a look at the filters so you can better understand what maybe people could be searching for, I would say, is a huge thing.
Yeah. And go to those ones that are just franchises, Sherry, and look how they list theirs. That would be another recommendation, where you could just see the new franchise opportunities. So, but yeah, go ahead and click into it. Let's pretend though, if you don't mind, Jer, that this is a current coffee shop for sale with actual revenue. In that you can see, obviously, guys, your numbers on there. If you scroll down to the business description, this is where you tell the story, right? Facilities, competition, expansion, and growth. Be as honest as you possibly can in there, so that way, again, they can relate to the story, and you'll be able to really. And we can go back. Let's go to another one, if you don't mind.
And so this,
if anyone wants another one to look at, by the way, throw it on there.
This is and this is where it's going to be, right? This is where the first thing they're going to look is this description, right? So like this is where the calls to action are going to be, right? So you're going to say that they're going to get a lot of like the information right here, like of what it is.
Yeah.
This is your opportunity to sell it.
So I would put in here, Travis, I would say, looking to start your first coffee shop or looking to expand into a franchise, look no further. This is what you need to do to get started. You will essentially, with me, come up with $10,000 down, financing 50 grand at any local bank. You could get more specific with the words. With that, you immediately get these things essentially to start it. You will then need to find a lease. The average lease for a coffee shop in the area of X percentage footage is, or X footage is this much per month, so that you could essentially build what you would call a future. Okay, if it's going to cost me 10 grand, I need to rent something, and the average revenue for a current franchise is open means I make X if I do this.
Yeah.
That's the story you have to tell.
I love that, dude.
Yep.
That's
You
helpful.
bet.
That's helpful.
So again, guys, this last 15 minutes, we're going over deals. We're going over questions. This is the kind of the open mic form. If you're stalled on something, bring it up, because this is the parts where we're all going to learn from it. But right now, we're specifically going over the fact that our listings do not tell, all of them do not tell a story on to the new buyer of what they're really getting. Again, if you know that your seller is willing to negotiate some owner financing, or they're willing to negotiate the fact of a balloon payment, you have to build that story. So if you want me to go in, and Travis to go in and look at some more, just here's the point, knock it in the chat and we'll look at it for you guys and give you some feedback on that listing itself.
This is where we could also talk about that non-exclusive challenge that I've got, that I posted with the guy,
Yeah,
the
this
camping
is the
business
point.
owner.
Let's bring that to the table here. I'm gonna.
Man, nothing fires me up more than the non-exclusive deals. It's like, so you want us to work for free, is basically what you're saying, and then cut us out from our legs when the time gets tough. So what is a non-exclusive deal? First of all, it usually happens when you contact a current potential seller and they say, I'm not ready to commit yet. So, but if you want to bring me buyers, I'm willing to accept them. You're like, well,
Yeah.
that doesn't sound like a fair deal. It's like, I'm going to do all the work. So how do you get away from that? So do you want to talk? You want me to talk on this one? Because I can go all day. These people fire me up.
I know a couple things, but I'm super curious to hear how you would position yourself in that conversation.
Yeah. This is where I throw I made a video on this because it just happened to me as well. It's, tell me, how's it going during the holiday season right now, answering these phone calls and talking to potential buyers? That's the first strike at their nerve system, right? Because they're 100% annoyed. I can promise you.
Yeah.
Right. We all are annoyed when we get four or five phone calls every hour, right? Or whatever it is, 4 or 5 phone calls a day, and have to re-explain why your business is for sale 5 times, right? So say that next. Be like, I know that what you're going through, because this is what I do for a living. I answer these phone calls. So that's my first question to you, Mr. Seller, is Mrs. Seller. How is that going so far, right? The second one is, well, you seem like you're, Corey, business broker, you have your head on your shoulders. I'd love to work with you, but I'm not ready to sign that exclusive. And say, hey, no worries at all. We get this all the time, Mr. Seller. I mean, the reason is because, look, there's a ton of businesses out there that are for sale by owner, but did you know, and I don't know the exact quote today, but around 80%, roughly 90% of those never sell. And the reason is because what happens is it falls apart after you start talking to buyers that are interested in the due diligence period. That's where it gets watery and muddy. So if you start throwing words out there like, have you got your legal team set up yet? Do you have yourself protected to where if there is a customer that comes after the business from a lawsuit standpoint, if they're not coming after you, they're coming after the current buyer? Do you have the legality and the tax information ready to be switched over from the state and the federal government? Do you have the LLC protection and things like that to make sure that you're covered there? About that point, you're going to get a good temperature check on that potential non-exclusive seller. And if they're like, yeah, you know what, I don't have any of that, maybe we should talk more. And if they're still like, you know what, I'm still good to go, then just move on. Because
I think that's where, that would have been my response. I am going to be, okay, well, if I'm just going to try to figure out how to reel you in, how much am I going to have to do that the entire process?
Yeah.
Or how much of a headache am I going to be as soon as this doesn't sell in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
You're going to reach out and be like, how much of a headache are you going to be? And would it be better to just, detach from the outcome is what I'm always like. I don't need for you to use me. Yeah. I'm here. I'm the lifeboat.
Yeah.
I'm here to help you. You're stranded.
Yeah.
And I'm here because I know what I can do for you. And I know that I'm going to step up and be that person for you. So I think, okay, so yeah, so listen, let's listen to this because I look at it. It says so Chat GPT, I was like, hey, let me ask this question. What percentage of businesses don't sell if they are sold for sale by owner? 50 to 80%, ranging from 50 to 80% or higher don't sell.
Yeah, maybe we should get where those statistics are coming from and put that on the website for our arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are these?
You know, it's Sherry, it's one of those things too where it gets underneath my skin because there's a lot of time and money and investment up front to sell a business. You know, those that are already on Biz by Sell, they know that they're paying, you know, rough to $200 to $300 a month in listing fees per listing. So they're already paying that subscription. So if they're a big business owner and they're doing millions of dollars in revenue, probably not that big of a deal. The chord that's going to strike for them are the ones that have to physically take the phone calls and answer these questions for non-qualified buyers, which is my second point. How's it going qualifying your current and potential buyers?
Should follow them. Like, oh, you're expecting that first person to call in and be like, oh yeah, I want to buy this business. I want to buy this business. Opposed, what are we going to do? We're going to follow up and be like, hey, did you get that? Did you get the sim? What did you think about it?
Yeah.
Like, is there any questions about it? Can I get you anything else? What it is? Because business owners, they're making pizzas, they're doing moving companies, they're doing all these things that they have to do to keep their business afloat. And so, I think it's like, oh, great. Well, do you have any follow-ups that you have to do? Like, how many follow-ups are you doing? Because the calls are great, but also you have to follow up with those people also. And so there's so many things that I can see why it's,
Well, even Ryan had I know we're going a little off track here, but Ryan, we'll talk to you a little bit about this. He had an offer come in that was essentially, they only wanted to put 15 grand down on a $500,000 business. And if he wouldn't have taken the time to do his due diligence on this potential buyer, we could have wasted so many people's time to the potential seller saying, we have somebody, but all they literally have is just $15,000. That was, I mean, probably Ryan had maybe 4, 5, 6 phone calls with this person before we actually got the offer on the table. And we found out, they didn't have the money at the end of the day. So that's where you tell that story to the potential seller saying, look, this happens all the time. You're going to get approached by people that don't have the money. So up to you if you want to continue dealing with that and essentially filtering it, or let us help you.
Yeah. And that's what this mastermind's about, is we do this as a collective. So if, use that story, use that, be like, hey, listen, I just had a broker and like this happened. Like, so how's that? Like, you can use those stories, because this is what a mastermind's all about, is about us saying, using each other. Is like the only way you see farther is on the shoulders of giants. Like, we're all giants in this industry. That's the goal, right? So use these stories, because stories, are the reason why people move or don't move.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. So
for sure, and Sherry, to your question, I would go find another one.
I would too.
That's not for sale, because those are even better ones to buy, if that makes sense. Yeah. So if you're going to go to if you have a listing that you see of this camping business guy, and you have a hot buyer for that specific business, right? And they really want to buy it, and the funds they have, go find another camping business that's just as good, that's not for sale, with a potential buyer ready and lined up, because it's probably more profitable and a better business to sell. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you.
And I think the answer is always next. You're like, when you're doing any calls, when you're doing anything, like you're having these struggles, like, oh, how do I go over this objection of an exclusive right? The answer is the next person, because when you get the next listing, you're not going to care about that last one. Like, just go on. Same thing with the next calls, right? Hey, just put a sign there. It's like, dang, that dude just yelled at me. Like, oh, he said no. Great. The answer is in the next call.
Yeah, that's fine.
The next call is the answer.
My last ditch effort would be this. Then let's sign an exclusive agreement with me for this one buyer. And if this one buyer buys your business, then I get my commission. If anybody else buys it, then you get the commission. But you have to see it through. I'm going to monitor the entire transaction with my potential buyer, but you got to give me the commission on this one exclusive buyer. And that's another way to overcome it. So they're like, sure, if you're going to bring me one buyer that's going to buy it, I'll sign it with you because it's a guarantee. If they say no to that, then just run and don't deal with it, because it's probably going to be an annoyance and frustration for your buyer as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yep. Good question. What else we got? We got Well, I guess we don't really have a time constraint, do we? We could go a little over if we need to, right?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
we're here for you guys.
Good to see you, JJ. That's why I didn't answer your phone call.
Okay, so anybody else got any other questions? Anybody else? Anything we're dealing with? I know that I know we've had a lot of I feel like it's picking up though, because I feel like I've talked to so many more people that are just having some things and buyers coming through, and I feel like people are getting ready for the new year.
Yeah.
I feel like they're feeling the changing of the guard.
The changing the guard.
The changing of the guard.
Well, thank you guys. I know Travis and I we're building this company with you guys, honestly and vulnerably. We appreciate it. We've got a lot of questions. Sometimes we just don't know the answers to. We've sold a ton of businesses, but we have not sold them with partners. So we're learning. So we appreciate your time and patience as we go through the admin part of these new CRMs that Travis and his team has been working on. My goodness, he tells me, guys, what he's doing, and it's like speaking French to me. So he's definitely in the weeds, and so we just want to thank you for that patience. But man,
yeah, you guys call our 1-800 number. You're going to talk to our brand new assistant who is all AI. It is all AI. It can schedule appointments, but feel free to go there and test it out for me and see, if you guys want to call it and be like, hey, yeah, I like this listing. It should get them connected with you guys. And schedule an appointment for you or give them your number.
Yeah.
We're still working on that stuff, but that's the stuff that we're working on in the background, really to take it to a different level that the brokerage business is not at yet.
Yeah.
So we have such an opportunity to do so. We will going to be making more videos also for our listing. Our listing process has changed in such a great way though that it's very much automatic from Deal Studio. So we're going to put some videos out for you guys to kind of walk through how to do that. Essentially, we can get your listing basically live. You guys can do it on our website, and then we'll be able to get it to Biz by Sell and make sure just all the information's in there. So it's been awesome, man. It's been awesome to do this.
And I think we got even another question here.
What's the question?
From JJ? What should we do when we are getting no buyer leads? So this is Colleen. Yep, Colleen. Okay. Here's what I would recommend doing because it's not price. So it's a t. Let's give a little background here. It's a t-shirt shop. I think we're asking, was it close to 500 thumbs up? Yeah, close to 500,000. Nets 150, 200. Like if you really put some effort into it, could really be 50%.
I mean, yeah, and they're online businesses. They don't have they have the ability to do drop shipping too.
Yeah.
Like they have a lot of ability there too. I think it's just going to take.
Yeah. So it's been a business for a long time too. One of those things though, to where, t-shirt shops, who's willing to buy one of those today type of thing, right? Who wants to do it? And I can tell you that Big Frog t-shirt shop franchise is growing significantly. They're buying up people left and right. So, it's one thing too, JJ. I can tell you that you should actually look at contacting Big Frog still. I know the owner said they contacted me, but you don't really know if that was ever true or if it was pushed through, but something to think about, right? There's that option. But personally, I would be focusing on, just saying it out loud to friends and family. Hey, if anybody's interested in making X amount of money per month in cash flow, running a business where you are full time, maybe quitting your job, like this t-shirt shop is a little hidden gem. And start literally just voicing it out left and right. Anybody want to buy a business? Anybody want to buy a business? I know it sounds crazy, but it works. Hey guys, I just want to let you know you're at a barbecue or a party for the holidays. I've got this little gym business that's a t-shirt shop. It nets $200,000 a year. Owners willing to do some goods financing. Banks are willing to lend right now. Give me a shout. That's one route. You may get lucky by fishing in that pond. You got the second route, which is obviously calling a franchise. And you started dipping into it and you almost got it with the third option, which is calling current t-shirt shop owners and going, do you want to buy up competition, right? But, with your marketing mind, think about it. Would you be considered buying a t-shirt shop right now if it knew it made 200 grand a year?
100%.
So what would be the reason to convince you?
I think the biggest thing with that, if I was going to, the biggest thing about that business is they are not running, they're sustaining the business themselves. You know what I mean? So as far as like, if I wanted to do it, I wouldn't do it. Like if somebody called me and said they're making $200,000, dude, they have employees, totally fine. I don't have to go in there and do that. Right. I think so that you're looking for somebody that either has employees and is ready to go or wants to take it over. Like that's the hardest part about that, you know? So even if you're contacting these other businesses, like they have to fill those places. And you're also looking at the numbers is that what are they paying? What are they paying? Do you know what they're paying themselves a
Yeah,
year?
they get, is it roughly 35%, 40% take home of that revenue? Do you know? Are you there, JJ? Maybe you're like 120. Okay.
So they're taking home 120.
Taking home 120.
And so the total profit that they're getting like after that is how much? 80 grand?
Well, you minus taxes and stuff.
Yeah.
No, they'll probably write that off in deduction. So they're probably taking home 130.
Okay.
Yeah. They'll pay themselves a smaller salary,
Yeah.
but pay themselves through different ways to avoid taxes and things like that. So, I mean, I would bet this business probably should sell more around the 200, 250 range, right? But they want a lot because of its history, location. And that leads to another thing too. Jay, this has been listed probably for like 30 days. Remember, an average business does take 90 days to sell. So with your timing right now, it's not working for you. It's going to be working against you with the holidays. So I know it seems light. No one's talking about Killeen and owning a shop in Killeen, Texas right now. That's right. But you'd be shocked if you went to maybe an Austin t-shirt company that says, hey, if you want to tap into the suburbs, this is an opportunity for you. So for me, I think we should take it offline, but I don't know, maybe drive down to some other t-shirt shops in the city. If you guys have, by the way, Sherry or Ryan or anybody else online has any ideas for JJ, let us know.
Anyone got any buyers for him?
Admit JM Ryan there. I can see Sherry's in deep thought. She's ready to sell this t-shirt shop for you. Yeah. Buyers in Minnesota. Nope.
Yeah, I think, you know,
I know big
the thing
frog
about
owners
this,
here.
what's that?
Oh, I was just saying, I know a big frog owner shop here, but we're in Minnesota. They're not interested in Texas. Probably. That's okay. So.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, we just bought some polos and stuff, JJ, for Dickie's Barbecue, right there in Round Rock. And they were a 3-person shop, running owner operator. I mean, and they were just the happiest. Like they loved it. They loved what they did. And
So the question maybe is it go back to what we were talking about? Should we revisit the listing and see if that like we can update that listing at all and see if there's, I think that would be your thing is like, oh, what story are we telling on the listing? Like, let's revamp it. And that's something that you should definitely, if you're not getting any traction on something, especially in this time, like let's keep testing it. Like go in and be like, hey, I want to change this. I want to change this. Like, I want to change this. Like, let's keep testing it because you may have somebody, and let's change the pictures too. Like if you feel like, hey, listen, it's been, 30 days. I want to change the pictures every 30 days. Why? Because as people are scrolling, it's going to, oh, I've seen that one. But if you change the pic, like people will visually think that they saw it, but if it's a different picture and it's changing, you may have the same person go, yeah, I signed this NDA last month, but they didn't even know it's the same business because what we're doing is we're changing it. We're changing. So I think that to update your listing, like as soon as you're like, I'm stagnant, update the listing. I think that would be the most important thing because, people are searching for that. Then and they just keep scrolling by. Like if you've seen the same thing, then I'm just gonna keep scrolling by because I already saw it. But if it's different, even the picture or anything, the headline, let's change it. Let's change it. So as soon as you feel stagnation, that would be my first bet.
yeah, that triggered my memory too. JJ, have you posted on any websites at all, or not websites, social media sites? Have you posted on Facebook yet? No, like even kind of like what Sherry's doing with the car business that she has going on, where she's posting a picture in it. It might be good for you to go have a t-shirt on, post it, this business is for sale, type of thing. In Killeen.
I think your guys, so the first thing that, we can't, and we can't scale trying to market locally. It's just not possible for us. That would be, it'd be very hard for us to do that. And it's taking away what you guys could potentially get. So if we're posting locally for y'all, that business is coming to us. When we give it to you, hey, we're taking a percentage because that's a company lead that we spent time, energy, or resources to get. So what I would do, JJ, is the first step is try to get in groups of all Killeen businesses like, there's got to be some businesses for sale. There has to be some things in clean marketplaces. And I would go and I would take our listing that's on our website. I would take that link and I would say, hey, anybody in clean, and the story is, want to quit your job and make more. Like, because that could be the story. Odds are you're going to get somebody within the community that's going to want to buy that business, that wants to operate it. Right. And so I think that when we're looking at, and what these businesses are, what you're talking about is, these are Main Street businesses, right? That's what they are. They're Main Street businesses. They're not big conglomerates. They like, now if he was like, hey, we have a drop shipping business, right, and we're doing all this stuff online, well, it's different. It's a tech. That's more of a tech kind of a marketplace. This is a Main Street people. And me and Corey went there. Wait, me and Corey went there, and we were literally middle of the day, just literally nonstop people coming in, nonstop. It's people driving by, people coming in, maybe looking at like, it's Main Street. So what you're going to do is you're going to go, like, they have, clean buy and sell, trade. They have all these Facebook groups. What I would do, because you have a couple businesses that are in there, I would go join those and I would start marketing on those. Yeah.
Well, what's funny? So, JJ, the broker with the pizza shop there by Randall's, he was in Round Rock, buy, sell, trade, and posted the spot next to the pizza place for rent. And I saw him in the Round Rock group page. So maybe something like that, it triggered my memory of, like, I reached out to him, by the way, and said, I think you met, you, JJ, through, and we're looking at the space next to you. Actually, he's like, yeah, we could look at that if you want to buy the pizza place. But, like, he was in Round Rock neighbors. I was in there for the Dickie's barbecue stuff. I'm just telling you, it may be something that I would try.
And I mean, you're talking Belton, you're talking Colleen, you're talking, what's the other one? What's the
Belton,
I don't know. What's the other one that's up there that has the campus? The one we went to, saw the sports bar. Temple.
Yeah.
So those three, I would hit that whole triangle. Anything in Bell County, any of those cities, that there's Facebook groups for all of those buy, sell, and trade. And I'm sure there's some small business groups. I would 100% do that. Yeah. That would be my first thing. 2 reasons. Whether you sell that doesn't matter at this point. We want to sell it. Yeah. But the thing is like, we want people to contact you and be like, and start saying, I'm interested in this business. And if a buyer comes to you, JJ, and says, hey, I'm interested in this business, and then it just doesn't work out, or they piqued an interest, like, oh no, I don't really want to do that. I'd rather have something that's, absentee owner. Well, your first thing is, now you have a buyer, and now you can call, well, what are you looking for? We have our buyer box, right? We've talked about this before. Go get their buyer box and call the crap out of all these businesses, because you're going to get listings out of them. And that's the main goal, is that we want you to be visible, which is the worst thing about business brokers right now. They don't want to be visible. Yeah. Like, they're like, hey, in the dark of the night, like, they're literally Batman. Like, you want to be Superman, you want to be middle of the day, right? Flying in the sky. For sure. And so I think with all of this, like, yes, hopefully this helps you sell it, but this is a sign in the yard that we have to use the leverage to get you the next business. Yeah. And so I would say, dude, be blast and clean up, like, every group. And they're gonna be like, who the heck is this JJ guy? Right? Who is this guy selling this business? Because you have a couple of them, right? We have that restaurant too, right? Is that still? Yeah, the restaurant's about to go live. Yeah. So it's one of those things too. It's like, dude, you should be running that Facebook. That's what that's the thing too. And I probably have time for one more question we have on here, but that's, if you have different businesses for sale and you have people that come to look at this business, say, hey, I don't know if you know this, but I also have a t-shirt business that's actually a little hidden gem you should look at as well. So use your moving companies, buyers, to do this and that, and go back and forth. And then the last question is should you talk to them about the price without their permission? So technically on the contract, you have the ability to not necessarily move prices, but to market differently. It's, to me though, honesty first. I would say, if you don't mind, and we talked this on the car wash currently, is, hey, do you care if we change owner financing? Do you care if we change the ability to lower the price to get some offers in? Like, I want some flexibility here. And if you establish that up front, which I'm not sure if you did or not, you could really kind of move it. We just moved the car wash down because it just wasn't getting any hits. Now we're getting some more hits, and we're about to get the offer because of owner financing.
So
yeah, I think that what we always do in real estate to be like, I can't tell you my hand, but I can tell you what game we're playing. That's the biggest thing. So if somebody asks, you can say, make me an offer, because I don't care what the offer is. Because once I have an offer, I can work with that. I can't work with something I don't have. Right. So I would tell people, like, opposed to saying, hey, here's the price that you can go lower, just make me an offer. Like, I think we can work something out, but just make an offer. I don't really care what it is, because once you have them on the hook, there's something about once you like put an offer out there, like, now they're committed. Now they're like, I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose this. And then it starts coming pride in it, right? We see it in real estate all the time, all the time. Like, just make an offer, because even if it's low, I can start talking to them, and then they're like, well, maybe let me see how low I can get them. And then all reality, like, we have our number, they have their number. Let's see if it we can make that work. But if I don't have anything, like, dude, just tell them to make an offer. Like, you know what? I'm not sure exactly what they're going to take, but I know, like, they would just make an offer, because I'm sure that we can work something out if that number doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, just so you know what you're saying it without saying it.
Yep.
Right. You don't have to say a number. Just make me an offer.
Yeah.
Which will tell you, like, oh, if they're willing just to say make an offer, like anything, like, so let's get something on the board.
For sure.
Like, let's get something here. Let's get an offer. You know what I mean?
Get on the board.
Let's get on the board here.
Well, you want to take us home? I think we're.
What are your thoughts on potential buyers? Let's talking directly to sellers. For instance, my headphones in the way. What does that say? Can you read it on?
Yeah, it basically show if you have a potential buyer and they want to talk to the seller. It depends on the seller. I'd be very honest with you, because some sellers are unique personalities and they want to tell everything under the moon. And some are, the opposite. They're angry for some reason, and they'll get ticked off really easily. So I try to avoid it, but at some point when you guys will have 15, 20 listings each, you won't have the time to explain these details to everybody. So you have to turn it over to essentially to the seller. So,
or I think, what you could do, if you guys wanted to, and you can always have the back of your seller to obviously ask them and say, hey, is this something you'd be interested in? And you may have some sellers, and the thing about it is that if you've had a person that's in real estate that, like, maybe have done a lot to their house, they're going to know more about all the stuff than you will ever know, because there's questions that we can't. So what you could do is you could also maybe schedule a Zoom call between all three of you guys.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And so it's like, you're there, you're having it, but you're also being like, yeah, if it's totally fine, like, I can be there with you. We can get on a call so they can answer any questions. And I can just be there, so you can kind of be more support, even though you're going to sit back, but then you also know what they're talking about. So he's not going to start, that guy's not going to say some stuff if you're there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there was a cake business that was for sale, and we got him on the phone with the owner. And the owner basically showed great desperation. I just want to get rid of this thing. This thing's falling apart and it's a nightmare. Like, so it was the deal ended very quickly, right?
That guy's like, I'm out.
And that was in due diligence after they've already made the offer. So even then you have to be careful with your sellers, right? But you want them to talk to them, because you want the right buyer and the right seller to match, because the business matches their personality. So I think that's up to you, but I would highly recommend making sure their personalities match and you've coached the seller a little bit before you
I think that's the biggest thing. Coaching the seller is going to be what to say and what not to say.
For sure.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
Okay.
Anybody else? Anything? Here's the last thing I want us to do, guys. So next, we're going to be doing these every week, guys. Same bat time, same bat place. What are you interested in learning more about? We have what we want. We already have. I have a million things that I want. For the ones that didn't like hear it at the beginning, I started talking about tracking. Okay. I have a tracker that is basically for you to be able to monitor. If you're not tracking anything, like, to me, it doesn't exist. Right. You can say, oh, I made all these calls. Okay. Where do you track them at? You have no idea. It doesn't exist. Yep. So I have a tracker that I created that I can send out to you guys. So what I want you guys to do, put a thumbs up in the chat right now if you want me to send you that tracker. It's a Google sheet. I made it. It's super simple. It's for the whole year. Tracks calls, texts, and drops. So drop buys, drop ins, whatever you want to do. So you guys can see. And the goal is, it's also going to see you're going to be able to track your listings. You're going to be able to track all these things and whatnot. Things like that. Cool. That would be the next thing. But then what I want you guys to do is when we get done here, I want you to go into the headquarters. And what I want you to do is write a post about some things you guys want to talk about.
Yeah.
That's it. I want to see the activity there, but post in there so we can, once we end this chat, I won't going to be able to see it, or I'm not going to go back to it. If you put it in the headquarters, we'll see it.
Yep.
And always throw something in the headquarters, and that's something that you're struggling with, because we're going to grow better all together. So something like, if you're leaning on us for answers, we could have them, but we may not. And somebody who's been in the game or is dealing with the same situation right now might have it. So that's what that place is used for, is not just an information kind of, here's information that we have going on. Mm-hmm. It's all about, hey, listen, this is what I'm dealing with. So any question that you guys brought to our attention should definitely be put in headquarters. Hey, I'm not getting a lot of buyers. Is there any recommendations that from other brokers, what you would do? Mm-hmm. Like, ask those questions. Okay. That is very important. And then, so when we get done, I want you guys, any questions that you have, anything you want to talk about, put it in there, please. Cause that's how we're going to formulate this mastermind also. Okay.
Cool. That's it for me, man.
All right, guys. Well, hey, we'll see you all next week. If you guys have questions, jump on the headquarters. We're going to start doing some videos too for the listing. We have that, the whole thing set up. So we'll ping you all. We'll send you all those when they're ready to go, so you guys can see how the flow goes. Okay.
See you guys.
All right. Peace, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.